My observation is that it makes a huge difference whether your wealth comes suddenly and you're not prepared for it, or you are eased into it over time.
Well, I mean, I would say that it did come suddenly. You know, when the sequence of events in 2016, we did a minority exit, so we sold 40% of the company to a private equity firm, and so suddenly you had a windfall, and suddenly I felt, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this? But I was prepared for it because we'd been preparing for 3 or 4 years, and in fact, I've been preparing for longer. And although I didn't want to exit, I had to recognize that, you know, you don't go on forever. I was in my mid-50s, and I had to prepare. You know, I kind of took a judgment call that by the time I got to 60, I needed to step back and let somebody else take the responsibility. And certainly as the business got much bigger and it got into, you know, as we had several hundred, you know, we had a few hundred employees, it was a big responsibility. You know, I would kind of worry that somebody might do something terrible in America or something like that, and I'd be the responsible person, and I'd get hauled off to jail in America or something. You just don't know. You don't know what's around the corner. So so I would worry about the responsibility, and I've just felt I need to share this with other owners who've got big shoulders. And you know, because you know, I was getting to a point where I didn't have the capacity to work as hard as I had, let's say, in my 40s when I started the business.
I would love to hear why you decided to exit, even though the business was doing so well.
I just took this view, as I said, when I was in my sort of mid-50s, that when I got to 60, I would have been doing the business for 20 years. And I just said to everybody, something's got to happen. Something's going to happen. Not sure what it is. And we'd also reached a size where I was having to recruit people with really quite serious kind of corporate expertise and experience. And it's difficult to recruit individuals like that if they're not actually, if you can't demonstrate that there's a pathway for them to be well rewarded. And the obvious way to do that is to say there's going to be an exit, and give them shares or share options, and that's the way that they can participate from the value that they're creating. So that was very important, that piece. I think also I just had a desire to, although the dividend checks were very nice and we were getting good, had a comfortable lifestyle by then. You know, I'd spent 20 years building this business, and I just thought, you know, it could just go in, you know, some disaster could happen. And
you had a lot to lose by then.
There's a lot to lose,
all
and I want to take, you know,
done.
for my kids, for my family, I want to take some money off the table. So the partial exit route, rather than selling to a trade buyer in one go, and you know, the business was still growing at 20%, and I wanted to participate in that. So it seemed to me the best way to do that was either to float on the stock market. And I thought, no, I'm never going to do that, because having worked in investment banking, I see what a treadmill that is. Never going to do that. So private equity seemed to be the way to go, and I'm pleased with that decision. It's because, you know, with each transaction, I've been able to sell down a little bit more, and we're still owners, part owners of the business, but it's now a very small percentage. So it's quite complex, all the reasons.